Welcome to the Spinoso Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoso, and my experience and expertise is in scaling all types of medical businesses. This isn't a podcast telling you you should do this. I'm just telling you how I did this. And I want to help you build your business, take ownership of your life, and be a better leader at home and at work. And as always, we have Miss Amanda May with us in the studio today, which is also my office, right?
Yes, this is why the dogs are
And
often
Reptar and Bo, just
guests on
my
the
two
podcast.
dogs. Get down, guys.
My dog would be doing the exact same. Today we're going to talk about mental hangups that people experience and uh, when entrepreneurs want to make that leap from going to working in the business to working on the business, the things that can keep them stuck and some of the things that maybe you've experienced. So we're going to dive into the four top things that we feel like people need to understand and grow through, how you overcame those things, and how maybe our listeners can overcome it too.
Yeah. Yeah. So number one, guys, we're gonna get right into it. Number one, I don't want to lose my cash flow. So people think if I hire, my bank account goes down. That feels scary. Yeah. Welcome to the fucking club. It's gonna feel scary. The thing is, if you don't have a growth mindset and know that, hey, this person or this hire is going to bring me more money, then you need to get better at hiring. You need to get better at recruiting. You need to get better at interviewing because once you start seeing consistent money, you're going to want to pull it off the table. You're going to want to grab it. And I actually made this mistake. Gosh, this was 2 years into business and maybe almost 3 years into business where the business started making money. And we actually started, Brent and I started to get dividends. We started to pay ourselves a little bit more than just the bare minimum of mortgage and our food and our car notes, right? And we started to take that money and I was putting it in like stocks and S&P 500 and keeping it in the bank and things like that. And after a while, I was also looking at other investments. Like what else who else, whose other company can I invest in? Can I put money with them or them? And one day I was sitting down talking with my wife about a potential investment in a friend's company and she's like, "Well, why don't you just put that money back into Genesis?" And I was like, mind explosion, brain melting. What? What a novel idea. And it was me seeing everybody else diversify and trying to put their money in every other thing rather than just putting the money back into what I had bet on in the first place. And as an entrepreneur, you say, I don't want to lose my cash flow, but then you're willing to leave your current job, which is probably steady income, steady cash flow, to build your own business. You lose all your fucking cash flow if you're building your own business. Same with if you're an entrepreneur. You leave one company to go to another, or you leave one job to go to another. You're losing your current cash flow in order for you to level yourself up. And it's the same as business. That money that you have coming in or that income that you have coming in, you start to have a scarcity mindset because you never had it before. You didn't have it before. You start to make money and you're like, I got to keep all this. I got to keep all this. When in reality, hiring's not an expense. I mean, it's just something that you have to do to buy back your time. And we've talked about that on multiple episodes before, so I won't get into it. But that allows you to free your hands up to work on the next thing and on the next thing and on the next thing. You have to remember that reinvesting essentially what that's what it is. It's reinvesting. It's not paying somebody out and you're not getting anything back. You're investing into someone else so that they can start to replace certain aspects of your day-to-day life.
Mm. So I want to take a quick sidestep here because you're talking about taking money and investing it in somebody else's company. At what point did you feel like you hit the place where you could start to have some vertical integration where maybe it wasn't just Genesis, but you started looking at acquiring other businesses that would help support the portfolio and also support what you were doing with Genesis, like the pharmacies and Life PRP? Was that at the 3-year point, 4-year point, like when or a certain number value? Like what point was that you knew it was time if you were going to invest in something else, it was something else that you also owned?
There wasn't a number. It was really just at the beginning, every single dollar that I received that we got that was extra really went back into the business. And that's how we did it for the first 2.5, almost 3 years. And then when it started to have enough money where we didn't have to push every dollar back into the business, that's when my mindset stupidly changed into thinking, well, I'm going to take this money and go put it somewhere else. When, and it's been perpetrated out there this message of, well, multimillionaires and entrepreneurs have 7 streams of income. And the problem with that is people start to think, well, I have to diversify in all these different things. I have to change all these different things. The issue with that is what got you there in the first place to get that little bit of extra money or those extra dividends was the first business, that first company. And so those entrepreneurs, if you look at the Jeff Bezos or the Elon Musk or the Joel, was it? I think his name is Joel Huang, not Joel Huang from Nvidia. His last name's Huang. Um, they do one thing. They did one thing, one business very, very well. They worked on it very, very well. Now Elon has sold and moved into other businesses, but Jeff and Huang haven't. Have just sat at their business doing what they were doing for decades and reinvesting in themselves, reinvesting in their company. And yeah, they might acquire other businesses or buy other businesses or build other businesses that are really vertically aligned with theirs, fulfillment or shipping or computer chips or etc. But it's aligned directly with their company and not with anyone else. Like
So what point was that for you when you realized like, okay, now is the time to do some vertical integration where we can buy other businesses that support the overall mission of Genesis, like the pharmacies and Life PRP?
the time that I knew that it was good to vertically integrate, and Brent and I had this conversation years and years ago. We always had this vision for what Genesis was going to be like multiple clinics, hundreds of clinics, and we owned all the different pieces. We talked about, God, now 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, being the P&G, the Procter and Gamble of the medical field. And for those that don't know, P&G owns all sorts of different companies. Like they're just a big conglomerate that owns everything, kind of like Disney when they own Marvel and Disney Parks and I don't know, like ABC or NBC or something like that. They own all these different things. So we wanted to do the same thing with the medical field. And at the early on, they were like, I know people were saying, well, you can't do that, or it doesn't make sense for you to do that, or whatever. And I was like, there's that doesn't make sense because it's a structure thing. That's all it is. All these other companies can own all these other things. Why can't we as well in the medical field? So we wanted all these companies that were vertically integrated that essentially could pay each other, which provides instant customers right away, as well as instant value right away to each other. And so once we started to get more income and more dividends and realized, okay, well, we can't shove everything back into the clinic because of the fact that we can't buy more machinery places or we can look to acquire other companies, but the for every 20 companies you're going to look at, you're going to maybe try and buy one of them. So it was a volume issue where you couldn't push it out fast enough. That's when it was like, okay, well, let's start to attack our cost of goods on everything. So when we looked at our profit and loss sheet, we said, okay, what's the highest cost of goods? What's the second highest cost of goods? And then can we go either partner or buy our way into those verticals? And we started off trying to partner. We tried to partner with multiple different GPOs, group purchasing options, pharmacies, etc. And all those partnerships just kind of they didn't either come to fruition or they fell through because again, when you're talking to other entrepreneurs, other business leaders, other entrepreneurs, like they don't have the same interest. They don't have that same vision of growth and a massive conglomerate and improving and doing better for themselves. All they're focused on is, what's this little cup I got in front of me? I got to protect this cup, and I don't want to mess up because if I drop this cup and it shatters, I don't have another cup. Versus somebody who thinks widely and it's like, yeah, we could do partnerships with this group and this group and this group and unite the clans and have all these people come together and we could all do really well together. And when we looked at those P&Ls and we saw these cost of goods, that's when we started to say, okay, well, we can afford to invest in this or afford to invest in this, or let's start looking for this. And that's how the vertical companies came along.
Mm. Yeah, the structure of that is pretty brilliant because it does help the overall mission of Genesis, and you're still investing in something that you own, but it does kinda diversify. It's just all within your own umbrella, and so that's really something, to consider if you're listening and you're talking and you've thought about, where else do I invest? How do I diversify? That's something to take a look at. How can you diversify within your own portfolio instead of branching out and trying to believe in what somebody else is doing, but continue to put back into your vision and your plan, going forward. So I love that because it's the alignment that has to get created in business. It's very rare that you can find somebody that you align with on such a grand scale, like what you're talking about with Brent. Most people don't have that. And then when you go out and you try to partner with other companies, to do, like, maybe joint ventures, you're looking at the same thing where you're going like, "Do I align with this person on a lot of levels?" It's a marriage. I think about that a lot in business. It's like you're saying yes, you're marrying this person in business for what is hoping to be a very long time. And so, there has to be a great deal of alignment in order to do really big business with a partner like what you're doing with Brent.
Absolutely.
When do you feel like you started viewing team members as assets instead of expenses?
Oh, from the beginning. I mean, again, w- like you said, I started the business with Brent as a business partner. So we were already teammates. We were already an asset to each other. He knew things I didn't know. And she knew things, or he knew things I didn't know, and I knew things he didn't know. And so we worked really well together. And there's an old phrase like Amazon needs box packers too. And I talked about it over and over. If everyone in Amazon in the warehouse walked out today, it would really hurt Amazon. Now they have the money to solve the problem and hire other people or replace them with robots at this point. But they know that people are required for their company. I know people are required to build a company. And if I want to build a really big company, then I got to be really good at having great people on board, great leaders on board, driving us in the right direction. Like that's just how it has to be. And so I need to make sure that the people on board are accountable for their actions, they're contributing to the group, and they're really good assets to the team because we all lean on each other. It's like the move in the movie 300 with the Spartans. They used to fight and they fought with each other by protecting the person next to them with their own shield. It's the same thing. You have to have a team where you have a very strong chain together. Everybody is supporting everybody. So you can't think that you're going to scale by bringing somebody shitty on board and thinking, well, you know what, we'll be okay, we'll be fine, or bringing somebody who's going to destroy the culture on board, or even keeping those people in your system and thinking that you're going to be okay because once part of the shield fails, the entire thing fails. That's the problem with it. So as always, you always have to have that mindset is that your team members are not expenses. Your team members should be contributing. Now, if you do hire somebody, they should have an ROI attached to them, a return on investment. If I'm going to give you X amount of dollars, there should be X amount of dollars you bring in or give back to the company or give me in my time. If you don't, then that person is eliminated. And it's no hard feelings. It's just they don't contribute. If they're not contributing, then they're not worth that money.
Yeah. Maybe it's a position that's not needed
Yeah.
or can be absorbed by other positions around it.
Right. Or they
Yeah.
just suck at the position. Because people say, like, "Oh, I know my worth. I know what I'm worth. Know your worth, queen. Know your worth, king." I mean, if you don't know shit, go fuck yourself. You're worth less. You're worthless. You really are. Like, you have to be skilled. You have to do the work. You have to be efficient in your job in order to be worth what you're worth. Period. And a good owner, a good boss, a good leader, a good manager will see what you're worth and will pay you that or reimburse you that or set up a pathway for you to get to where you're worth in the meantime. Otherwise, you could go find another job because you're very good at what you're doing and you can go find another job that pays very, very well in another company for sure.
I love that example that you just gave. That was great. I see that. I see that stuff a lot. Those trending things on TikTok and Instagram about knowing your worth. Um, well, I think when somebody actually knows their worth, they don't have to announce it like that.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. They just do their work and they do it really, really well. And they're
Yeah.
like, I know my worth. Like to people who really are worth a lot and do really, really well and get paid really, really, really well, they're not posting like "Know Your Worth, Queen" on Instagram or social media or anything
Yeah.
like that
I'm gonna
because
make sure I
they're
find
just
one of
doing the
those and
work.
post it and
Yeah,
tag you.
they're just doing the work and crushing it. Yeah, if you post it, I'll be watching. I'll be watching. Be like, she's like, "Know Your Worth, Queen." I'm like, "What are you talking about over there? Shut up."
What advice would you give to somebody that's feeling fear around losing something financially that they've finally built?
Yeah. Um, well, it's twofold to that because it's a loaded question. One, just like you wouldn't outspend your income as an intelligent business owner, as an intelligent entrepreneur, don't outspend your income when it comes to your business. So if you're making, let's say, $30,000 net profit a month, don't spend 50. Like that doesn't make sense. If you're making 30K and you want to hire somebody, even if you hire somebody for, let's say, 5K a month, that's a $60,000 a year employee that in most positions, in most areas in the medical field, you can fit an MA into that, a clinic director with bonuses. Obviously, you won't be able to afford a provider or an RN with that, but you choose the positions or put them in the positions that you can't afford. And at the same time, that $60,000 a year should net you more money every single month. At $5,000 a month, that person should pay them for themselves in follow-ups, in calls, in getting good reviews, getting referrals. That 5,000 Ugh. That $5,000 should be easy to recoup with that position if they're doing what they should be doing. Again, if they're actually worth what they're worth when you do hire them. So, if you're thinking I'm scared to lose and you're stopping yourself from hiring an employee or getting to the next level, guess what? Your competition, they might be just as scared and they'll take the leap and they'll have an employee and they'll have a second location and they'll grow and grow and grow. And guess what? They'll take market share away from you. And then your business becomes irrelevant. And then your business becomes irrelevant and you close down. Period. I mean, if you're not growing, you're dying in business. There's no businesses. I was actually having a conversation with this with somebody the other day. There's no businesses that have lasted tens of thousands of years. There's no businesses that have lasted thousands of years. Now, there's a couple businesses that have lasted hundreds of years, but that being said, I think, and I researched this actually, there's a hotel in China that opened in like 706 BC. And it's run by the same like family since then, like 52 generations, I think, of
Wow.
lineage. They can uh, go back to this hotel. But that being said, when you look at American businesses or US based businesses, I mean, they started in what, 1776. So that's only a few hundred years ago. At the same time, there's no businesses or very few businesses that were open on day one or year 10 of the United States that are still open today in the US. And it's because they didn't maybe innovate, or something happened with the economy, or something internally happened with them. But that being said, if you're scared to lose what you've built already, I mean, just think back to what you were scared of when you first built your business. You know, when you first grew your company, like, you were scared at the beginning. It doesn't go away. It continues. I wake up every day in fear, sometimes in the middle of the night in fear of losing it all, of this issue or that issue or whatever. Like, people can't fucking imagine how much stress it takes. I was up in the middle of the night last night at like 4 a.m. thinking about this legal thing I'm going through. It just piles on and piles on and piles on, and it never goes away. As long as you're growing, it only gets worse. Welcome to entrepreneurship, guys. That's why it's so cool to be an entrepreneur. If you can make a crap load of money being an awesome entrepreneur, do it. Don't do it just because you want to do it yourself.
Yeah. Something I think is uh valuable to dive a little bit deeper on with this particular topic is if you are hiring people that are an expense, because I feel like that can happen, you have to reassess your own leadership because you're either hiring the wrong people or you're not leading them properly. And so you're not going to get the return because they maybe don't have set KPIs, they don't have clear goals, they don't know the vision of the company. So maybe it's not even that it was a bad hire, but it's bad or poor leadership. And so that's also something to review because if you feel like, I'm hiring people and it's just an expense, you should take time to assess your leadership. And if you are putting things in place for people to know how to succeed in the position you're putting them in, because otherwise it could just be an expense and then there isn't a return on it. That doesn't always fall on the people. I feel like there's ownership in the leadership that needs to get discussed because it'd be easy for a leader or somebody who owns a clinic to be like, "Oh, it's just a bad hire. Oh, it's just a bad hire." But it's like, "No, maybe take a look in the mirror and see like how can I be a better leader and set these people up for success so they are an asset to the company?" Because, clarity in that role is going to be super important in being able to grow a team and have that success that you're really wanting to have with hiring people. Um, I think this next one I connect with very much, and that is the mindset that my clients need me. And going from like solopreneur beauty industry where it was very service based, uh I did experience this. I mean, I made the mistake, if you will, or I had the experience. The lesson I learned in it was not to do it this way. But I had the experience of Amanda May Beauty. That's what I opened my biggest store and training academy under. And that was in my hometown. And, so it was like people knew me. People were coming there because I'd, done all these cool things in my career. And so, it's an expert in beauty. And so they would come. But what I found out is that because I built it that way and I had the mindset my clients need me, that even though as I hired new talent and taught them, people would still be like, "Oh, I'll wait for Amanda. I'll wait to have her do my service." Even though I would be like, "I'm not doing services anymore." Well, really? Because your name's on the door, And so you can't build a business around you as you're the expert in the industry and the only one that knows how to do these things and then expect clients to be like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I'll go to anybody." Like, I think that's like a big part of like mindset shift over the years is like it doesn't have to be your name, and if you build it with your name, then that's the mindset of like my clients need me. But if you build a vision that's bigger than you and that encompasses a lot of people, then and that expertise gets filtered through all the trainings that you have and the way you build up your team, then you can step back and your clients aren't going to leave. But if you build it with you being the face, the forefront, the mindset there is going to be if you step back, then your clients are going to leave. And so how did you with Genesis, like obviously Genesis isn't built on you. You're still very much the face of the company as far as the content that gets put out and kind of the face of everything that we do internally. Um, but what's your thought on this and how did you overcome this idea that did you ever have it? Like if you leave, your clients are if you step back that your clients are gonna leave or that the clients need you personally?
Yeah, I think at the beginning, I thought that I was more important than I actually was, and that they need me for something. And I think there are intricacies to this in the medical field where if you are a board certified plastic surgeon and you are very, very good at what you do, or you're a very, very high level injector and you're very good at Botox filler, uh, Sculptra, whatever injector, and you're very good at what you do, there is an aspect to it that people are only going to go to you, and you should try and build your brand up as big as you possibly can personally, because that's where you're going to get the most money. For example, I had a friend of mine go to Kylie Jenner's surgeon for a consultation, and his consultation, their price was like $98,000 for her treatment. And um, that being said, I mean that's a ridiculous price normally for a treatment like that, but again, he built his name up, he built up who he talks to, who he is taking care of, etcetera, and he gets, great results, obviously, enough that, one of the Jenners went to him. That being said, if you're trying to build, like we talked about, a med spa business or any other type of company, brick and mortars, usually it's best to not have your name on the door. The solopreneur that builds the business where they're the brand, it's okay until they want to scale. And they're going to have difficulty with scaling that. And we're not talking retail products. We're talking service-based industry here because you can go and look at any car and they're all named after someone, right? There's Ferrari and there's Lamborghini and they all have somebody's name attached to it. Bugatti, they all have a name attached to it, right? And then you look at, let's look at the cosmetology and hair salons like Tresemme and was it all those have some sort of Paul Mitchell, like they all have names attached to them, right? Same thing. But when you look in the service based industry and you're delivering a service to somebody, especially like the medical field, it doesn't benefit you to put your name on the door if you're trying to scale because you're exactly right. If you're with your business with Amanda May Beauty, your name was on the door. People wanted to go to Amanda May, not the Amanda Wayne way of training or anything like that. Now, that being said, if you currently have your name on the door, it's not the end of the world where you're not going to be able to grow, but you have to change the way your messaging is with your company to essentially let everyone know that your name is the brand instead. Your name is what your core values are and what it stands for and everything like that. Because if you get away from that, or if you stay on, hey, my name, it's all about me, then everybody's going to come to you and you're not going to be able to grow. And if your business can't run without you, you don't have a business, you have a job. So you have to focus on making sure that you replace yourself. And an easy way to do that at the beginning, honestly, when I hired my first nurse practitioner to replace me, I would walk into the room with him. I would say, "Hey, this is nurse practitioner so and so. He is going to be my replacement. Don't worry, he knows more than me. He's an expert in X, Y, and Z. You're in phenomenal hands. I'm really excited for you. I'm going to let him take over." And I would just leave. I would walk out. And the clients with with that introduction, they got used to it. You can do the same thing via email. And what I like to tell people is to blame it on the clients. Blame it on them. I just wanted to let you know that because you guys are so amazing and referrals have been flooding in, and because of our high level customer service, you have allowed us to grow. And therefore, I have to step back from seeing clientele, from seeing people, and X, Y, and Z will be my replacement, or you'll see what's her name be a clinic director more or whatever. You're setting it up to where you said, well, because you guys did this, we have to grow and I have to step away. So you blame it on them, but they feel good because you're growing. And nobody, I mean, the probably one or two assholes you don't want to see anymore are going to pitch a fit like, well, I think I should still be able to see you or blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, cool. Well, I don't at that point, and you'll get rid of those really bad clientele at that, in that same one fell swoop.
Mm. Yeah, and it's true. People don't need you particularly. People are looking for an excellent experience, and that part can be more of a system and protocols that you put in place. You often say these 3 things, and you often say it, so I should be able to repeat it very easily, but I'm still gonna ask you, just so I don't mess it up, because I mess up some things sometimes, not perfect. That people want a fast, um they wanna be treated well, they want fast service, and they want it without any flaws. And if you can provide those 3 things, whether it's you or somebody in your clinic or your business doing it, that's what people are looking for. Did I get them right?
You're absolutely right.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
See, I
Yep.
do listen. I do listen. I got it right. So that's something to pay attention to when you are looking for creating more of a system. Are you giving your clients those 3 things? Because if you are, then in the long run, they're going to be happy. And you've talked about um, building. So you have this interesting thing happening. So you're building a personal brand now.
Yes.
You started in Genesis, which is not that's more of a broad business. And then that doesn't necessarily tie to you. And now you're building your personal brand. What created that shift? I'm interested in that because people who say, like, my clients need me, okay, maybe you do want to build a personal brand. I'm just now getting back into some of the things that, I love so much and are passions for me and going to start building some content around that. But it's like, what was that shift for you where you're like, okay, now I've built Genesis, which isn't about me, to now I want to start to focus on my personal brand?
Well, that was the exactly what you said is why I did it. So my mentor in business, I've talked about him before, Andy Frisella. I was mentored by Ed Milet, a couple other guys that I really respect. They built a business and then had something to say and some actual real fucking, wins, losses, growth, brick and mortars, businesses under their belts before they went and built their personal brand. And they built their personal brand so they could do national campaigns and reach more people, but at the same time invite other people to be partners on different companies, etc. So at this time, the reason why I build a personal brand is exactly for that. Are there other clinic owners that want to join Genesis and become a Genesis? Are there other companies that are vertically in my space that I could partner with or acquire that I'm going to be able to attract people to? And again, everybody knows a colleague or a friend or whatever that is a nurse practitioner or a doctor in their family. Everybody does. So that being said, can I recruit? It's a good recruiting tool for Genesis and for teammates, and we're always looking for great people to join our team. So that's why I did it. I didn't start out with me, and like I'm important and having the personal brand because I didn't have anything to fucking say. I didn't have anything to do. And that's the difference is that out here now, if people are building these personal brands and you look and you can't Google their business, you can't go and visit their stores, you can't find what they're doing or why they're doing it at all, then other than maybe they run their mastermind or they have this personal business, like why the fuck are you listening to them? You shouldn't be. And so I didn't start the personal brand until really late, you know, compared to other entrepreneurs because I didn't feel like I had anything to say or anything to share that could help other people until I had actually fucking built something. And that's what people don't understand. Like, you shouldn't be, and this is me telling you what to do here. You shouldn't be fucking building a personal brand if you got nothing to fucking say. Like, you should be building your business brand, pouring everything into your business brand, and that could be on your own personal page, absolutely. But building a personal brand is part of, I think, what's necessary when you start to have a business and start to have something to talk about. That is, if you want to share about how to build a business and grow and help and partner with people. If you just want to build a personal brand because that's what you want to do, you want to people cheer your name, cool. But what is it for? Like, everybody who is really famous or has a really big personal brand is because it's tied to something, whether it's entertainment in movie actors and singers to business and business leaders to I don't know, government officials. Like, those people that have a lot of followers, they're tied to something that they delivered to other people. Nobody just builds a personal brand because they think they're awesome themselves and nobody else thinks they're awesome. That's just how it is. And so that's why I thought about that, where it's like, okay, now that the business is growing, now I can start a podcast. Now I have something to talk about, something to teach others because I've gone through just all these different fucking lessons over the years.
That's powerful. What would you say to the business owner that's really stuck on this one, where they're in their mind, they're hearing what we're saying, they're kind of resonating with it, but they're like, "But you don't understand. My clients need me." What would you say to that person?
Look, if you're really stuck on the mindset, my clients really need me or my clients really want me, and you're not willing to give that up, then be willing to give up something else in your company, meaning leadership. Hire somebody to lead you, hire somebody to run your company. And that's something that I learned most recently is that if somebody wants to, you don't always have to be at the very, very tip of the spear. You could be a board member, you could be a consultant, you can be a visionary in a business and hire all the other positions out. You can grow your company to $100 million and say, "Well, I don't want to be the CEO anymore," and hire a CEO. I mean, that's what most companies do. That's how most companies run when they get to a certain size. So it's the same for your company. If you have a smaller company and you really want to see all the clientele, then hire somebody on the backside to run the clinic for you. Hire a CEO to run the location for you, or a clinic director, or somebody to do all the other stuff in your job. So all you can focus on is seeing the clientele. Now, that's going to be really, really hard when you try and build multiple locations or something like that. But it's an option. It's always the ability to have that. However, I will tell you, you're going to scale a lot slower and maybe not scale at all if you don't. Because what's going to happen is that the person that you hire, you're not going to know how to train them. You're not going to know what they need to do daily to succeed. And so if you're not learning that and training them, you're not going to scale. So that's why naturally owners, even though, like, if somebody offered me a few $1,000,000 a year to not be the fucking owner and not be the leader, I'd probably fucking take it. I got plenty of other businesses to work on and focus on, and having somebody else lead and run the day to day and have to do all the funneling of the bullshit, that might be great. But nobody else will do that. Nobody else will fucking do that. And it doesn't make sense at this time. So you're not going to be able to scale if you don't learn those lessons that are required to run your company at the next level. So I'll just say that. If you think and you're stuck in, my clients need me, they need to see me, I need to see every single one of them, that's fine. Realize you'll never grow other than your one location, other than you being the provider. Other than that, like, you will not grow.
Mm. Solid advice. Uh, that really takes us into the next point, point 3, which is the mindset pitfall that nobody can do it like I can. So when you talked just a moment ago about you're not going to know how to train someone, you're not going to be able to scale if you're doing it all. I mean, I think this goes hand in hand with it, where it's like Well, people sometimes have that mindset they need me because nobody else can do it like I can. And if I delegate, it's not gonna be good enough. That's that's really a mindset that keeps people stuck. Well, what do you do what do you do about that? And how do you see that kind of playing out in people's life that nobody can do it like I can?
Yeah. Look, that they can't do it as good as me. Yeah, right now they can't do it as good as you. But guess what? 6 months, a year and a half down the line, they're going to do it twice as good as you. And if you hire right out the gate, they're going to do it twice as good as you. Now, right now, if I went to hire any type of aesthetics provider, like I know they would be better than me because I've been out of practice. I haven't done it for a very long time. I know the basics, but I don't know next level stuff of aesthetics and aesthetic injecting. So, perfectionism is often like your own ego in disguise, and that I am the best at everything. Okay. Yes, and you have to think that way in order to build a business and run a business and grow a business. You have to be crazy like that. You have to focus on that, which is cool. But at the same time, the person who builds and grows and runs that massive business also understands that they can't do it alone because they can't do every single position in the job. So they're okay with hiring other people who might not be as good as them, which is fine because you're hiring them for the job that right now you just need a body for. Now they have got your culture, they've got your drive, they've got everything because you figured that out in the interview process. And if you need to figure out the interview process, I think one of our we talked about that through one of our own old podcasts. But that being said, like 80% of the job being done by someone else is better than 100% being done by you if it's 2 a.m. in the morning, period. Like, if your standard is no one will ever be able to do this as good as I can, then guess what? No one ever will. And if that's the case, then your business is going to stay small. If no one can ever be the director of your clinic, guess what? You're only going to have one clinic. If no one can ever be the medical provider that you can be, guess what? You're going to be the only provider forever. And that's just how it is. So you need to focus on the fact that there will be people who can do it like you just have to give them time. And or you just have to hire really well and pay really well. And you can find people that are better than you.
Well, and what something else that you guys do in Genesis really well is um, offering the trainings. You know, a lot of those companies, like aesthetics companies, they'll send people out to do trainings. And if you're constantly offering more training to your teammates and you have people that are go-getters, they're going to constantly be pushing and then they're focused on whatever their role is, and it's like their training is focused on getting better at aesthetics or being a better provider or better team leader, whatever their role is. If they're being given the training and the tools to excel in those aspects, and it is somebody that wants to grow and learn, they are gonna grow really, really fast. And I know you said that you've hired people like or you could hire someone in aesthetics and they would be better than you because you haven't been in it in a while, but do you recall a time where you hired a team member and they outperformed you on something and you were like, "Holy shit, this is great."
Yeah, I mean, literally almost every single job I've hired somebody for or replaced somebody with, for the most part. Now there's gonna be some screw ups here and there, and that's just part of learning how to hire and learning how to train people. But you're right. If you hire someone who's better than you from the get go. They have more training from the get go, and then you have training systems for them and onboarding systems for them. They're going to do really well out the gate. They should be able to at least perform the basic functions of the job out the gate, and then they will get better and better and better. So th- when asking, have I ever had a single team member outperform me at something? I think every team member probably outperforms me at something that they're doing every single day, because they've gotten good training, because we hire good people, and because we want to make sure that whoever comes to the team is going to be really a good contributor to the team. But a part of that, yes, is you're absolutely right, is the training and making sure that you are training them, not just hiring someone and expect them to know the entire job inside and out.
And then another aspect is understanding what healthy delegation looks like. And for you, how do you manage that healthy delegation in all of the companies that you have now? Because you have a lot happening. So you have a lot of moving parts. What does healthy delegation look like if you've got a lot of moving parts?
If you're trying to replace yourself or you're trying to grow a company that's more than one location or grow a company that like everybody likes to say, "Oh, I want to grow a company so I have more freedom and more time with X, Y, and Z." If you're trying to do that, if that's what your focus is, then you need to learn delegation and learn it really well and learn it fast.
Mm.
That's the long and short about that. And along with that, you need to think of the end in mind. When you should build a business, when you grow a business, when people pitch me their business ideas and they want investments, I always say, well, what's the end goal in mind? Is it just simply cash flow? Is it the freedom to walk away or go to your kids' stuff whenever you want? Is it you want to be able to scale this and sell it to private equity? Is it a private sale? All those things are important in what you do when you first build your business, what you do when you first start to step foot into the entrepreneur journey. Because some people say, well, I just want to build this thing, I want to do it, and I'll figure out the strategy later. Like, I'm just trying to survive. But it's really irresponsible to not think about what the end goal is for your business because it's going to cloud your vision. It's going to cloud your mission. It's going to cloud who you hire and when you hire it. You need to have the end in mind. And man, Genesis got into trouble with this where we knew we wanted to build hundreds of clinics. We knew we wanted to build across multiple locations. And then when we went through, PE valuations and figured out what we were worth and everything like that, we realized that we were so focused on the end or this nebulous end of just a sale that we didn't take the steps in between that really were important, the strategy. So, the hiring certain C-suite executives and getting certain positions in place, we didn't do that. And as a result, we're valued less than what we should be. And so, if you're not taking time to sit back, zoom out, and look at your company as a whole, where are the issues that I need to fill? Where are the opportunities for growth? Where are the Keep yawning. Where are the threats to the business? Then you're just treading water. You're just trying to figure out, okay, well, can I hold on to this or hold on to this in order to float? You don't have a plan in mind, a vision in mind, which allows you to work towards that.
Mm, that's so good. Uh, I often talk about when I was running the Amanda May Beauty locations, but I don't often refer to a time in my career that this was really the first time I experienced it, and it was when I was running the salon at Caesars. I had 50 employees, and we sat in strategy session meetings with the CEO of Caesars Entertainment, and, it's where I learned about P&Ls, it's where I learned about vendor relationships, sales strategies, sales goals with the team, leadership. There was so much that went into that, and it's interesting, I mean, I think we were doing for about 4 to 500,000 a month in revenue, um, and so managing budgets and all of the bonuses and things like that, and so I think about how powerful those meetings were because as a team, we got together all the leadership within the whole organization, from CEOs and all the executives above us, and then the management within the salon. And we had those sessions, and they're super important, and it was so valuable for the entire team to be a part of it. And yes, the CEO had the vision that they were setting, like, "Hey, this is where we need to go," but it was so important for all of us to be a part of that as a team, and taking that time to step back away from the day-to-day grind of the salon, which was super busy, but really focusing on where are we going as a company, and how does the salon fit in with the overall vision of Caesar's Palace, and then Caesar's Entertainment Corporation. And so understanding all of that was really, really valuable. And that was probably the first time in my business career. I still think that was it was almost like going to college. I got paid to learn a lot in that position. Um, but it was the first time I learned about working on the business and not just in the business, where those meetings, we had those often, and you had to step back, and you had to align as a team, and you had to think about where are we going and how are we getting there, and then you go back, and then all 50 stylists, it was like you could manage and delegate, like, here's what you need to do, and here's what you need to know, and here's the trainings we need to bring in, because we knew that as a whole, our leadership was all headed the same direction. So it's a lot easier to pass that down to the people, that are working on your team to help you accomplish those goals. Um, it's it was also an interesting time in my life where I had to make that mindset shift that being busy didn't mean that I was successful, that, just moving for the sake of moving, you have to know where you're going.
Mhm.
And I still sometimes struggle with that, but I've gotten better over the years at putting things in place to kinda pump the brakes on just the taking action without thinking through what's the point of this action, and is this gonna get me to the long-term goal that I have? Um but it's just not an easy thing to understand sometimes, especially when you're in hustle mode, and we kinda are in hustle culture still. I think, it's popular for people to be like, "I only slept 5 hours and, yay for caffeine and
Mhm.
hashtag
Mhm.
hustle, hustle all day,"
Yep.
It's like that has become, even for women, which is very opposite of our nature, it's become pretty popular to kinda hustle, 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 and not think a lot about where you're going and how you're gonna get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
big mindset big mindset shift needs to happen when you go from working on your business to working in your business to working on your business.
And it has to be a part of every single day. There are entrepreneurs that I know that are young and they're like, well, I take an admin day once a week or twice a week. I have admin days, 2 half days a week to do all my admin work and work on the business. That's not enough. It's literally not enough. Every day you should be taking time and blocking that time out to work on the business. And if you're like, well, I don't have time during the day, okay, do it at night. Do it after the kids go to bed. I'm sorry, that's part of being an entrepreneur and period, like, you have to fucking do. Like, this isn't a job, this isn't fun. That's what you have to fucking do,
Mm,
period. So, if you want to grow, you need to focus on taking time every single day to sit back and look at everything from top to bottom. Go through your business, every part of your business, and little chunks at a time, and say, "How's this looking? What's the direction we need to go in? How can we improve this process and procedures and move forward?"
well, it sounds like to me, in order for people to step into their full potential in their business and their life, it's about letting go of control and building a team and learning to release what you think only you can be good at so that you can truly scale and build a business and set the vision for your life. And you can reassess your beliefs at any point. Any one of these beliefs that we've talked about today these things that keep you stuck. Somewhere along the line, you decided to believe it because it was serving to you. You got something out of it, but you don't have to hold on to that belief if it's hindering you, if it's an impeding belief that you're operating through, replace it with something else. So first you have to know it's there. You have to know that it's not serving you anymore, and then you have to decide to make a change and replace it with a belief that is helpful, that's going to really move you forward and get you closer to your goals and your vision for your life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I love it. So let's end on that, guys, and I just want to leave you with this. You cannot win alone. You don't win doing everything by yourself. You win by investing in people, you win by building systems, you win by owning the role of being an architect and building your teams and your vision, not just the operator alone. Because at the end of the day, you didn't build your business just to survive. You built it to lead, to grow, to be free. And if you never do any of those things, then it's not fucking worth it. Thanks for listening, guys.